back to my views and news. Two news stories. Firstly, a bad news for Ethiopian government, Ethiopian economy. Ethiopia is definitely in economic crisis, trying to get out of this crisis, hoping to get a bailout package. No good news, rather Ethiopian currency has been downgraded. What does it mean? Secondly, Oromia Amhara border, North Shore zone of the Amhara region. Heavy fighting in a border area. Military trying to push Fano fighters away from Oromia border. Fano fighters are trying to move towards Oromia border. They were on Oromia border. They were pushed. Then there was heavy fighting yesterday and today in this border town on Amhara-Oromia. Border details for you in this video. Firstly, viewers, Ethiopian economy. We can do a separate video on Ethiopian economy, though Ethiopian GDP growth rate is still higher than that of several African countries. One of the fastest growing economies in Africa was Ethiopia. Still, it is. But Ethiopian economy is facing multiple challenges. One of the main challenge is shortage of hard cash. Government is trying to get a bailout package. Why? For hard cash. Because foreign exchange reserves are dwindling very fast. Ethiopia is not in a position to pay back loans. That is why some top Ethiopian delegations visited China, and when BRICS summit was held in South Africa a few days ago, China announced restructuring of debt. It means that the loan which Ethiopia has to pay back to China this year, this payment has been postponed by China. Postponed only, not cancelled. Ethiopia will have to pay back this loan next year. So China gave this temporary relief to Ethiopia. Ethiopia has been hoping for a similar relief from G20 as well. Since last year, Ethiopia in talks with G20 countries, France, etc., hoping to get relief in loan payment. No relief from other countries. Only China gave the relief. And as I said earlier, Ethiopia in talks to get hard cash from IMF, from World Bank. World Bank is announcing aid, but it's not in the form of hard cash, or hard cash will come gradually. For example, if 300 million are announced by World Bank for different programs in Ethiopia, the program will be implemented in 2 or 3 years, so this 300 million amount will come gradually. Ethiopia needs one big amount of hard cash, a few $1 billion. That is why Ethiopia has been in talks with IMF, World Bank, getting US support, EU support, trying to convince IMF and World Bank for some hard cash. Talks underway. And now Ethiopia has joined BRICS, which is a Russian and Chinese platform, an alternative platform to Western and American platforms. BRICS claims to be an economic platform. We don't know if this platform can lead to formation of an economic bloc, global economic bloc, but it's so far not as powerful as Western economic blocs. Now, Moody's has downgraded Ethiopian currency. On Friday, Ethiopian currency was downgraded by 1 notch. Why? Because there is high likelihood of default on foreign currency denominations of private sector banks. Basically, Ethiopia is facing shortage of hard cash. Ethiopia could default on international payments. China has suspended payments, but other countries haven't suspended payments. So that is why this Ethiopian currency has been downgraded. There are several factors leading to economic crisis in Ethiopia. Diaspora remittances have been a big source of earning for Ethiopian government. Now diaspora is split. Amhara diaspora community is campaigning to stop all remittances to Ethiopian government. Amhara diaspora in talks with international institutions, asking them to stop all grants, loans to Ethiopian government. Tigrayan diaspora already campaigning for the last 2 years against Ethiopian government. Oromo diaspora supports Ethiopian government, but diaspora is overall split. Foreign investment is not coming in big amount, and local industries cannot be established in a few days or weeks. It takes time. So, and Ethiopia is hoping to get relief from somewhere, from Arab countries, from African Development Bank, from EU, from US, but so far no big relief from any side. That is why Ethiopian currency downgraded. Not a good news for Ethiopian PM, obviously, for Ethiopian government. West and US, they want Ethiopia to do a lot. I think Ethiopian request to join BRICS did not go well with the West, with the US. And we have seen that Ethiopia has been resisting international pressure about investigation into human rights abuses committed during Tigray conflict, committed in Amhara of our Tigray regions. And now when EU and US are calling for negotiated resolution to the conflicts in Amhara-Oromia, again Ethiopian government is trying to resist this pressure from EU and US. And Ethiopia is in a very difficult position now. If it says no to Mike Hammer, who is in Ethiopia these days, this economic crisis could aggravate. So how will the government face this challenge of economic crisis? That we'll see. But so far Ethiopian currency downgraded. Secondly, viewers, Amhara-Oromia border, where a Wareda town was captured on this border by Fano fighters a few days ago. Rarti, which is in Minjar, came under Fano control, very close to Oromia border. Minjar is in North Shore zone of the Amhara region. And then we saw that these Fano fighters tried to move into Oromia. They reportedly entered Ajare. Ajare is in East Shava zone of the Oromia region. From Minjar, Fano fighters entered Ajare, and they were hoping that they would move towards Addis Ababa to Bishoftu, or Addis Ababa to Afar road. But they were stopped in Ajare. And then we saw counteroffensive on Fano fighters. Fano fighters were pushed from Ajare. They were pushed back from Ajare towards Minjar. In Minjar, we saw that local police, local administrative officials all fled, and entire town, Ararthi in Minjar, came under Fano control. Now, military is trying to retake Minjar. For the last 2 days, heavy clashes have been ongoing in Minjar between Fano and the military. Fano fighters are claiming that they have pushed military out of Minjar in this new offensive. Military was not in Minjar a few days ago. When Fano fighters took control of Minjar and Ararthi almost a week ago, there was no ENDF there, or there was very small presence of Ethiopian National Defense Force there. Mainly it was police and militia which were deployed in Minjar. So Fano fighters took advantage of non-deployment of ENDF in Minjar and it captured Minjar. Now military is leading the offensive on Fano fighters in Minjar, Shinkora, Ararthi. So far, Fano fighters holding on to their positions reportedly. From Minjar, Fano fighters can enter Oromia, they can reach Ethiopia-Djibouti road, the section of the road which is connected to Addis Ababa. And though Bishoftu Air Base is at a distance from Ararthi, but Fano fighters might be planning to move towards Bishoftu. Though I personally think that the main target was the road which connects Addis Ababa with Ethiopia-Djibouti road. Oromia security forces have been deployed along the border, Oromia-Amhara border. Fano fighters have breached several towns on Oromia side of Oromia-Amhara border. Fano fighters entered Mendida, they entered Horogodoro Valaga, and new allegations are being leveled about entry of Fano fighters in East Valaga, where in Gidda Ayana, dozens were killed, dozens of Oromos were killed 2 days ago. Though Fano fighters from Amhara, they deny their involvement in this attack, but innocent Oromos were killed 2 days ago. And some Oromo news sources, some Oromo government officials like head of security, they are accusing local Amhara elements that they are armed in Oromia. They are behind the massacre of Oromos in Gidayana. But question is, why did ethnic Amharas kill Oromos? If they did, it means something happened to them too. There is definitely ethnic conflict in Valaga, both sides killing each other. So let's see what happens in Minjar. Fano fighters are resisting, they are not withdrawing from Minjar. They want to be in Minjar because from Minjar they can put pressure upon Oromia. And so far they have managed to take the conflict from Amhara towards Oromia. Though in border areas of Oromia we have seen their presence, like in Gunde Meskel, like in Ajare, like in Horogodoro Valaga, where a peace and security in charge of a Warada was killed by Fano fighters. But they successfully took the conflict from Amhara to border towns and cities of the Oromia region. Thank you for watching.